Hey guys, Desolator Gaming here, even though that's the wrong channel. I'm still a little messed up from the pre-release, not sure what day it is, but I am sure of one thing, I went 3-1. Now when I first opened my pre-release pack, I was very happy with a hard choice I had to make, which was which of the three ultra-powerful colors to choose. With the exception of the Eldritch Moon Sunday pre-release, I would say most of the last couple that I went to had a little bit different of a problem. It was more like which of these sad excuses for a colored card pool should I kind of force to happen? This time around, I mean, it was no gem. I'd give it maybe a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 overall as a deck, but it worked, and there was a lot of luck involved, and quite a few mistakes from my opponents that helped out a lot. I probably made 3 or 4 total mistakes the whole night, which I'm pretty happy about that. My opponents made at least 10 though, and that helped me out quite a bit. I ended up with white, red, with a little tiny bit of exile removal, ambush, and explodiness, and then I ended up with 2 hijacks. That was lethal almost every time I played it. The other times it was devastating, and almost every game had a hijack in it. Well, actually, I think it just felt like it. It was probably more like 60 or 70% of the games. And that's why I tell people, if you pull something hyper powerful, you can't count on it to come out. I mean, that's why people who got a Gisela and then the rest of their white color was a joke during the Eldritch Moon pre-release, they tended to lose. My deck had Scry, Draw, Filter. It was just like so fast get to Gisela. And she only came out about 70 or 80% of the time even after that. Luckily, I had some pretty powerful vehicles. I was able to throw in about 8 or 9 colorless artifacts. I did have the key, which it turns out is unbelievably powerful. That by itself won me about 4 of the games. When you tap it, you have to discard a card from your hand, which is fine because I kept drawing lands and other stuff I didn't need, irrelevant cards. And then during your untap step the next turn, then you can actually pay 2 mana, so you basically have to start your whole turn short 2 mana, but then you get to draw 2 cards. You draw 1 from the ability, and then you go to your draw phase. Now, 3 times in a row, I drew double lands off of it, and somehow still managed to win that game. That one was insane. It was against Dracon, actually. I ended up just barely winning the round, and that was the 3rd round, I think. I believe I had 6 cards left in my library, so that was a hell of a fight. I ended up actually stealing his 10/10 artifact with hijack and then running over Chandra with it while also killing him with an 8/6 vehicle with menace. As I suspected, overall I would say it was extremely fun to play limited and sealed with it because it just seems like the type. I mean, you could build up and it's flexible. It's got all the classics except for counter spells that had almost none of those. You got your ambush, you got your trample, you got your special capability creatures, then you got the new vehicles, which were pretty cool. A lot of cool mechanics and just general stuff. It wasn't like, oh, here's all the cards that go together. It's really obvious, build one of these 5 options. It was more like, hey, this could trigger some stuff, or hey, this kind of works with some stuff, and then you never know. You get all these weird interactions at the last second, and everybody feels like they lucked out because of it. And that's what makes it fun, whether you win or lose. Some big swing in the game. Oh, it's dramatic, and I love it. I ended up winning 3 packs total, and I got the Mythic Angel out of one of them. So that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, my schedule doesn't allow me to go to any of the other ones, so that sucks. But whatever. On Thursday, my Kaladesh order is showing up, and we're going to open all of them. So definitely no shortage of cards coming, although it's going to be a little bit rough to get a deck together at the same time by Friday. Now the one thing I was worried about was the turnout, but usually at these types of special events, people make sure to be there, even though it's like midnight and that's weird and people have stuff to do and have to work. But a lot of the people I talked to were like, yeah, I got to work, at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or noon. They're still showing up for that pre-release though, because pre-releases are fun. It seemed like everybody I talked to shared my sentiment that it's really fun to have a level playing field where it's not just, oh, somebody spent more money on the deck than you, so they have a chance of beating you, I will tell you, though, in Modern, it's like, yeah, it's been out so long that if you're not running one of the top decks, you mathematically have less of a chance of winning, aside from the rock, paper, scissors nature of getting, paired up against the right person. Like, if somebody's running Zoo and I'm running my Black Death deck, they probably have a 99% chance of losing. If somebody's running Storm and I'm running Black Death, I have a 100% chance of losing, trust me. They could mulligan to 3 and I would lose. I do not have Artifact Destruction, Enchantment Removal, none of that. Affinity, Storm, it'll all totally stomp that deck. But that's why I said rock, paper, scissors. One beats the other, beats the other. In Standard, though, lately, I would say it resembles Modern. Usually Standard, it's like you build something creative, it's pretty good, and yeah, you could take out a net deck with it. You know, the net decks aren't necessarily the most powerful. That's the number one misconception about them. They are not the best decks. Just look at the next tournament after it. On the tail end of it, where it's been out for like, 12 weeks or whatever, okay, you're getting closer, but there might still be a better deck out there. It is possible that a standard cycle occurs and no new set comes out, and during the stretch, the best deck is not found, or somebody had the best deck, and just by sheer coincidence, they did not win the big tournaments that everybody follows. They just had bad luck and lost too many rounds. But with Eldritch Moon and Shadows, some cards were so OP and some cards just went together so well that you couldn't beat them. It was like the top 2 decks in the late days of Dragons of Tarkir, like after that came out. When it came to Esper Control or Esper Dragons, or let's see, what was the other one? I don't remember. Oh yeah, Jeskai or Jeskai Black. So the 2 mods of it. Those decks couldn't be beaten. They could not be beaten. They had control, aggro, card draw, scry, life gain, everything. I mean, they could do it all, and they would win with just sideboarding. That was a side effect of 3 colors. The Eldritch Moon thing was a side effect of too many cards that are just insanely powerful going together, like Spell Queller. You make Spell Queller with Reflector Mage with Flicker, it's over. You can't win. This time around, I mean, it's not like those decks went away, but some of the top decks were flirting with some cards that are about to cycle out from Origins and from Dragons. So I think Kaladesh might actually shake it up a little bit, and when I was looking at the initial spoilers, I don't think that I saw anything that could beat the top standard decks right now. Now I do, though. The real shame is that BFZ and OGW are practically useless because they relied on some cards from Origins and Dragons. I mean, simple as that. And the big land dump Eldrazi ramp, those are just absolutely dead without, what is it? Nissa's Pilgrimage, I want to say, is one of them. It's definitely Explosive Vegetation. We're losing the best of the best land dumps, and that's a shame. Scions never were good enough at getting out Eldrazi. I think Flicker ETB Energy is going to be one, and Flicker ETB Servos is going to be another big deck. I don't think vehicles will be very competitive, honestly. There is definitely a very, very good deck to be built with vehicles, but not top tier. I think Artifact Flood boost with Artifact Sacrificing and Artifact counts, primarily red, I think that's going to beat everything. Unfortunately, I'm having trouble making a blue-white Flicker Reflector Mage deck. And it's going to have heavy pin down, but then again, if I go pin down, I could go mono blue and make it work better. So I'm still on the fence about what I'm going to build, mostly because there's just so many combinations. And that's why Kaladesh is different. It's not just, oh, I'm going to build spirits, yay, or I'm going to go werewolves. You know, it's like pre-made. It was honestly like picking out like a starter deck or whatever. It was just terrible. So many cards are so open-ended, like, hey, when you have a triggered ability, do it twice. Like, that could pair up with almost any card in all of Standard. I mean, anything that is an ETB, anything that has a triggered ability of any kind. Oh my gosh. So that's kind of cool because you guys know I love deck building, and you're going to be able to see some really crazy rogue decks. And so I'm going to focus on Kaladesh when it comes to crazy, crazy rogue decks. Expect price fluctuations late, too, because there's just so many combinations of cards. It's going to take a long time for people to figure out what the best ones are. Well, not the best cards, the best decks, I should say. So as soon as one becomes more popular, vroom, there go the prices. Overall, I think Kaladesh will be more fun to play because it's not just, oh, I'm going to pick out a tribal and go with it, which is pretty much what Eldritch Moon was. There was not a whole lot of wiggle room. I mean, it was coming off of Ally Tribal and Eldrazi Tribal, which were your 2 primary choices, and then going to, basically no coherence whatsoever from Origins. Dragons was meant to go in, a different block, imagine that. No help there. So, Kaladesh, though, I mean, it's just open-ended cards. You can pair them with anything from the past. So I would definitely watch for past cards to spike up because you never know. I think they will. And watch out for a whole bunch of deck ideas from me. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you want to see those decks in the near future. And let me know how your pre-release went. Leave that down in the comments if something real noteworthy happened, because that's always fun to hear about. And I will see you guys next video.